Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me loud and clear? I can't see any comments at the moment because of the screen at the bottom's on the wrong screen, but Tim is making me a quick coffee, so if you are there, please say hi. I think we're all set, and I think you can all hear me. I can't see the comments. So let me just quickly go on to my iPad. Just make sure you're all there. Hopefully you are. I'm not painting by myself. And then we'll get that screen changed over. I think we're okay, it's just I can't see your comments at the moment. So good morning, everyone. Let's just see, I'll click in, make sure my volume's down. Oh, hello, Toni. I can see. Yes, all good now. Hi, Doreen. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Jules. I will swap it over to our big screen in just a second, but at least I know you're there and you can all hear me. You're not by yourself, 253 of us. Wow. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Elaine, Joe, Philomena, Linda, Roseanne, Joan, Pat. So I can see all your comments, so I know you're all there, and I will get the screen changed over as soon as Tim comes back with a coffee. So if you are tuning in for the first time, my name is Toni Darroch and this is the How to Craft Network, but we're doing a special thing this month where we are painting every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock for an hour and a half, maybe it has gone a little bit over, and just created a little masterpiece of our own. We're not professional artists by any means, but I'm just trying to show you a couple of tips and techniques that I've learned along my way. So just one second, Tim, I can't see any messages on here. So I'm going to show you how to create a beautiful sunset today, but over the course of the 4 weeks, we've done leaves, we've done flowers, we've done poppies, and we've done like a beautiful sort of wind of flowers blowing in a field. But today's class is about the sunset. Thank you so much. So we're going to do that today. It's not difficult. We'll have a little bit of a practice run like we did with our leaves and things like that, and then we'll try and do a masterpiece. If we get time, we might try and do an Aurora borealis sky as well. Not painting in any trees or anything, because trees are really difficult, and I think that would be a step too far, but we might try and attempt a sky. If you have your silhouette stamps, and you can put a sheet in there as well. So yeah. Hello, Karen. Hi, Sue, Tracy, Elizabeth. Lots of you on today. Are you all ready? Have you all got your kit that you require? So for the show, you're going to need some watercolour cards, some paintbrushes, watercolour paints. That's about it, really. Oh, most important today, you're going to need some tissue. You're all dashing out of your chair now, aren't you? You need some tissue, and I need to get mine too. So you need some tissue because we're going to do a couple of techniques today. Just one second. Oh, it's here. We're going to do a couple of techniques today that require, thank you, going to require some tissue. We're going to do lots of techniques today, and then hopefully over the course of today, all the techniques that you've learned over the 4 weeks, we can just incorporate into our cards. So today we're going to do some lifting techniques. So if you do paint botanicals and florals, or you watercolour your stamped images, I'm going to show you how to lift colour out. If you want to do light and shade, maybe you've put it down and you need to take it out, then we're going to do that too. Oh, Anne says that's a bit ambitious. We'll see. We're a little bit late today, so it's okay. We'll play catch up. Right, I've just got my coffee as well. So is everybody good? Everybody's got what they need. Now, I suggest you do not go out and buy lots of expensive stuff. Don't need it. Use what you've got in your stash. If you like it and enjoy it, then we can progress into more professional materials and things like that. But what you'll probably have in your stash is absolutely enough. Please do not go out and spend any money. I'm just going to do a quick flick through cameras just to make sure we're all good to go. Right, okay, we're good to go. So what we're going to do is, you've seen on the picture, we're going to sort of attempt this. We'll see. Now, when I painted this, I did it a bit dark because I always try and get it to come across better on camera. Traditionally, I wouldn't have painted it this dark, so today's is probably going to be different. And no two paintings are ever the same, are they? So looking forward to today. So you all enjoyed the leaves, and guess what? The leaves from last week's show we're going to incorporate into this one. So again, you're picking up that brush and doing the practicing. There is a couple of things that I want to tell you about today, though. We are getting all professional in our painting, albeit it is the last class and you're all very sad, I know. I will try my best to incorporate some more further in the year, but at the moment I can't do any more yet. But I promise I will fit some in at some point. So we're getting all professional today, and we're just going to understand a little bit about a brush. I know. So if anybody asks you what you're on about when you're talking about brush, at least it sounds like you know what you're on about. Even if we're not great artists, we know what we're on about when we're touching a brush. Have we all got a cup of tea and a cup of coffee? The image is out of focus. That might, I think that might be your end, Karen, unfortunately. Is everybody else's picture okay? It should be crystal clear. Oh, somebody's excited about the moon. Oh, putting me under pressure. Coffee, yes. Right, okay. So let's play. So let's just understand a little bit about a brush, because I think over the course of the 4 weeks, you've done so many techniques and not even realised you've done those techniques because you've just been playing. And that's the great thing about painting and crafting. We're actually doing it. Yeah, mine's okay. Clear, good, crystal clear. Okay. You're actually already doing it and you're just playing and crafting, which is the fab thing about it. So when you look at a brush, I'm just going to, like, can you remember on the leaves when I said to you, like, you're going to do the tip, then you're going to push down, and then you're going to take it back to the tip. Well, we need to get sort of professional now. So basically, when, and if you do go to other classes, because in the community, there's lots of painting classes in people's communities at church halls and things like that. There isn't at the moment, but there will be. And you might go and think, oh my gosh, I've used to it being called a tip. Well, that's not the proper name. But let's just give you a couple of names for what's on the brush, and then if somebody says something to you, you can be like, I know what that is. So basically, the tip of your brush, which I always call the tip, is the toe. Okay, so it's a toe. It's actually like a human body, is this? It's got lots of names that are in the human body. So you've got your toe, okay? And the centre part where it sort of goes wider is the belly. And then where it joins your metal part here is called the heel, okay? So you've got a toe, a belly, and a heel. Okay, sounds all posh, eh? So toe, belly, heel, and then you've got your ferrule, which is this metal part which just holds all the elements together. Then this part here is the crimped element, which is what it says on the tin. It's crimped, so it holds it all together, all together there. Okay, so we've got that so far. So we've got toe, belly, heel, ferrule. You can write this down if you want to be more professional. It's up to you if you want to or not. And then you've got your crimped. And then on the wooden part here, you know where it sort of fattens, where we hold our hand? That's called a curve. Okay, so simple. So if you are wanting to maybe make yourself look better than you are, a few little things there for you to know. So let's, and I only learnt those a couple of years ago, and I have been painting since my mum died, which is a long time ago now. But it is nice to know these little, you know, it makes you sound better. Okay, so let's paint. So let's just move this around. Right, what we're going to do is you need a piece of watercolour card. I'm working on the smooth side today. So before we do our masterpiece, what we are going to do is we're going to do a practice. Okay, not a practice full paint, some technique practice on this piece of watercolour card here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to spray my mat. Now you can tape your artwork down if you want to. Just put your watercolour card into the water, and then I'm going to spray this side. And what will happen is the water will fight with each other and the card will not know which way to pull, so it will stay relatively flat. But if you like to tape down, I know a lot of you are more advanced than just a beginner, you can tape your artwork down, but this is a shortcut. So I've just sprayed the cardstock there. So as always, we need our cardstock to be shiny. So just get lots of water on there. Now you can use your brush to add the water if you haven't got a spray bottle. So clean, clear water, and just get some water onto that piece of white cardstock. I hope you can all see what I'm doing. I'm just pushing that water into that cardstock, okay? This is an absolute play, okay? We're not doing a masterpiece here. I just want to show you a couple of techniques. So I'll bob down, see it shine it, we're good to go. Make sure you've got lots of water on there. Okay, so you're going to bring in your watercolours. So whatever watercolours you're playing with today, I'm just going to use these ones today. But I have got my purple ones too somewhere. Here we go. What size, please? I'm using A5 today, Michaela. Sorry, that would help. A5, half a piece of an A4. But if you're a little bit more ambitious and can maybe do bigger, then you can do an A4 one. So I would say stick with a smaller one and progress into bigger. It's harder to do bigger, so if you start small and master it, then we can move up. So let's just get this cardstock wet. Are we all got some wet cardstock on here? Okay, looks like A5. Yeah, that's right. So all of the supplies I am using, they are available on the web. You've probably all got them by now, but if you are wanting some watercolour card, we have the carter on the website, which is an A5 and an A4 one. Go this way. But as always, you might have some watercolour card in your stash. If you don't have any watercolour card or anything like that today, but you do want to do it along, that's fine. Just use some white cardstock and just do your best with it. You'll soon quickly realise that you do need watercolour card, but taking part is what matters. And then you can go out and get some when you're ready. Right, so what we're going to do, excuse me, let's mix up. So you need to mix up some red. I'm using my flat brush today. So it's a square-ended brush. Can we see this here? I'll show you on this. We're using a flat-headed brush, and we're going to need a round as well, which is a size 4, which I always use. But first of all, we're going to need a flat brush. Now, this is a super old one. I've had it, well, I must have bought this at Creative Craft 10 years ago, something like that. But I've got lots of posh, fancy brushes, but I want to show you that, you know, the inexpensive brushes work equally as well. So let's mix up some red. So what we're going to do is we're just going to mix up some red, okay? Red, orange, whatever colour, it's just a practice. So we're just mixing up some colour, and all we're going to do is we're going to paint some red onto this cardstock from top to middle. See that there? Just get a colour of red down on this piece of cardstock. In fact, let's go all the way to the bottom because we will probably need the space for the techniques. So paint the whole piece of card red. So nothing fancy going on here, guys. Now we've got a nice piece of red cardstock. So this is our practice sheet, remember? So you always, if you're trying to create a sunset or something like that, it is better to go left to right, because look what happens when you go up and down. Now, if you were doing like rain or snow and it was falling down, the technique would be better to go top to bottom, because that gives the appearance of something coming from the top to the bottom. Very similar to an Aurora borealis. But because we're doing a sunset and normally the sky flickers from left to right, we're going to paint the paint in left to right, okay? So it depends on what sort of image you're painting. So I'm just letting everybody get some paint on some cardstock. I'm actually killing this with all this red paint, but it's okay. So have we all got some red paint onto our cardstock there? Hopefully we have. Now this is where your tissue comes into play, okay? So I'm just going to get some tissue, just some regular tissue, toilet tissue, kitchen tissue, blue roll, whatever you've got in your stash, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean my brush. Let's get the water into play here. Okay, so I'm just going to clean my brush. Okay, and I'm just going to take all the water out of my brush. So I'm just going to take it out, pounce it onto that paper, and then I should have a relatively dry brush. So we're going to try and do this moon that everybody loves to do but thinks that they need something to draw around. Let's see how it goes. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop my dry brush into this colour, and I'm just going to do a circle. So basically I'm keeping the brush in the same place and I'm just fanning it round. Can we see that there? And then I'm just going to take off the excess onto this tissue. And as you can see, because our cardstock is quite wet, it's sort of like disappearing. The colour and water's wanting to come back in. So you have to repeat this process several times. So all you're doing is you're sort of splaying those brush hairs out in a circular form. Now some of you might end up with pairs, Some of you might end up with squares. But don't worry about it, because you get lots and lots of attempts to get the sun equal, because the cardstock is wet for a long time. So if you want to go bigger, you can go bigger. So I'm just splading those hairs around, twisting my wrist and taking the colour out of that circle. Now I can't, have I lost you all, or is nobody talking? Because you're all concentrating, which is fine. Just keep taking that colour out of my brush. It's a relatively dry brush. All good. Okay, concentrating. Fine, fine, fine. I'll shut up. I was getting worried. So I've done that like 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 times there. My brush is practically dry now though. So I do need a little bit of water in my brush to continue on, but it still needs to be quite dry. So I'm just going to wet my brush in my water. And again, I'm going to take out all of that water in my tissue here. I'm just going to carry on. I'm just going to keep going. If you're thinking, I'm not very confident at getting a good circle, you can draw around something in a very small pencil sketch and then take the colour out that way if that's easier. But you might find you end up with a really big sun. Okay, so just keep going round until you're absolutely happy. And I would say when you're absolutely happy, stop. Okay? And if you're keeping doing it and nothing's happening, it means your brush is completely dry and it's got nowhere to go. So you need to wet that brush again, take out all of the water, and then do it again. You see that there? I'm just going to go. So the cool thing about this is you can come back to it, okay? So let's just do another little technique while our sun is working its magic there. So again, I've got a dry brush, and if you look what happens here when we pounce our brush, because it's dry and it's got no water in, look what's happening. Can we just see this here? It's taking the ink back out the card. Can we see this here? Just pouncing that brush in lines, and it's taking the colour out of that card. I'm just going to take the ink, wipe it onto here, and I'm just going to go again. Can we see that here? So my brush is at a 45-ish degree angle there, and I'm just pouncing those hairs into that ink, and it's taking it back out. Can we see that? So just in like a line, all the way across, just practice taking that colour out of that card. Okay, so just keep going and going and going. Now if you do a line, look what happens. It still takes it out, you just need to take the ink out of your brush. Let's just do it up here. So if you wanted to sort of create maybe a fluffy cloud. So my brush is really, really dry here. Really, really dry. Okay, so I'm just taking that ink out of the cardstock, getting rid of it. So you can go back, so wet your brush with your sun and make it look bigger. So just take out that water. I want it to be a little bit more defined. I'm going to go back in and give it a couple more blasts. You see that there? Just defined it a little bit. If you've got a little bit of a tremor, which I appreciate some will, like I say, get something circular like, let's just have a look what I've got down here. Like just say like the base of a a glue bottle or something, look, pop it on your artwork, do a very faint pencil sketch, and then instead of trying to do this, if you've got a tremor, which would be incredibly difficult, so don't beat yourself up if you're not achieving it, just get a normal size, here look, pretend I've got a sketch circle there, and I'll just circle motion. Can we see this here? This is for the people who may have a tremor or are finding it a little bit difficult. Can we see here? So pretend I've got a circle sketch there. I'm just going to stay within that circle, and I'm just going to take the ink off my brush. I'm just going to take it out this way, because I appreciate some people may not be able to twist their wrist and get that sort of circle effect there. But look, if you do it this way, sorry about the head there, but if you do it this way, you can get equally as beautiful results. I'm just going to keep going in with my dry brush and taking that colour out. So I hope that's helped the lady that said she's struggling. Also, if you're still struggling in that sense with the sun, maybe do it again. Hopefully this is still wet enough yet. So maybe do it again, look. So wherever I put the water there in a circle, say, so I'm just painting that circle in. You leave it to sort of activate itself a little bit, and then you take it out with a tissue. Can we see that there? If you're absolutely struggling with holding the brush, if you paint the water in, if you paint the water in, clean clear water in a circle best you can, and then take it out with a tissue, you will still sort of get an effect. Okay, so 3 different ways of doing that lovely sort of moon design on there. So hopefully my paper hasn't dried. So another little technique I just want to show you, whilst the papers might still have a little bit of water in there, is some tissue. So if you grab some tissue and sort of roll it up in a scrunch, like as if you were going to put it in the bin. Another technique to create some clouds is to put, let me find it, a wet area. Let me just reactivate this. Remember, this is a play, and because I've been doing that, I've sort of lost the water in there. So I'm just going to add a bit of water to my work here. I would never suggest you do this because you'll end up with sort of a funny pattern design by reactivating, but I just want to show you a couple more techniques. So don't ever do this if you're working on a masterpiece. So just as if you're going to put it in the bin, and then all you're going to do is you just pop the tissue into, and it gives you this sort of cloud effect. Look, it sort of soaks up the colour. You see that there? So if you're wanting to imitate clouds in a sky, you just get some scrushed up tissue, blot it in. This will sort of give you a cloud effect. You see that there? It's really, really cool. You know, there is a terminology for this, but I can't remember what it's called. It's a little bit like rag rolling. Yep, you can always stop me, pause me, watch me later, have another play later. Okay, so we've sort of done the technique where we're lifting the moon. We've done the sort of pouncing with our brush, like on the side where it takes the colour out, and we've also done the tissue. Okay, card too dry now. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's because I was doing these. So let's get rid of this piece of artwork, our practice sheet. What will happen is, though, you will have a lovely masterpiece on the back. Now, when we're using several colours, when we come to do our masterpiece, the back of the card looks incredible. Right, so let's just get rid of this for now. So just tidy your station, everybody. Give it a spritz or a clean. And let's work on putting something together here. So set that aside to dry if you want to come back to it later. I'll just clean my station here. So far, what we're all thinking, it's not that hard, but it does take practice, guys. It's not going to happen overnight, and I do encourage you to do several today if you get the chance. Like you did with the leaves. Incredible how many of you sort of mastered the leaves. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Right, I'll just get myself some, so you need some clean tissue. because this is going to help when we come to take our moon out or our sun, whatever we're doing. I'm just going to get another piece of tissue actually. Got a few. So get your station prepped. It's the cardstock that's the issue and too wet, okay? I think for this technique, the wetter the better. And you've got more time to play. But don't be tight with your water. So we've got our piece of tissue. Got some nice watercolours. I'm using two, well, I'm using this one actually, but I've got two just in case I want a colour that isn't in the other. So, have not mastered the leaves. I'm sure I've seen one from you, Rose, and that was beautiful. Right, okay, let's charge the batteries. Have we all got our cup of tea? It's lovely to have a painting morning, isn't it? I so wish I could do it every Saturday morning. I really do. What's going to happen though is I won't say we're going to change everything. We are making some changes in studio. So we're going to have like dedicated things for you to tune in on, and times which sort of specific show it's going to be about, and painting one and crafty one and a catch-up one, and we're going to put a schedule in, so you know, like when you go to Create and Craft and you see the schedule for the week maybe, we're going to post the schedule so you know when to tune in, what we're going to be doing and things like that. We're going to do some exclusive launches here in our own studio with just me, which is super cool, and we're going to be doing lots more class-based ones like this, and I'm also going to be offering the items we use for you to buy if you haven't got them at home. I'm just going to try and sort of make it a one-stop shop. So if you want to join in and you haven't got the goods, brilliant, but if you want to join in and you have, still brilliant. Okay, so we're sort of like, I don't know what's the word, adjusting. We're trying to adjust and make it more. The problem I have at the moment is we do the 3 o'clock shows. I can't really get involved with Tom with school. I'm the only parent that doesn't get involved in much because I'm always here, which is fine, because this is my job. I absolutely love, by the way. But, you know, we have to, it's a bit of give and take. So I'm just going to move things around and make it work for you at home and me as well, hopefully. Don't drink paint water. Sounds amazing, sounds great. Hopefully it will be. And we're going to get Claire back in studio as soon as allowed. Carly's going to be here, you know, as we were a year ago before I had to pick up everything. So you're going to get a lot of variety, which I'm also super excited about, because I appreciate, you come and see me and you come and say hi, but I also do understand that it is great to see other fabulous crafters, for me as well. So let's paint. Picture's gone fuzzy on TV and phone. It might be your internet because it's crystal clear here. We have the best internet connection ever, as you would have at Create and Craft. We pay a lot of money for you to get the best picture ever, so fingers crossed it's not on our part. So let's play. So again, as we did there, you're going to wet your cardstock. So wet underneath, spray your table or your board or your chopping board or whatever you're working on, glass mat, spray underneath. I'm using the smooth side of the card. I'll pop my cardstock into that spritz water and I'm going to spray the top of my card. If you don't have a spray bottle, just use your brush with the clean, clear water, okay? So first of all, let's get onto our overhead camera there. Oh, sorry, wrong one, sorry. There we go. So we've got our lovely brush here. I'm just going to push that water into that cardstock. And I'm going to go against the grain to make sure I've got plenty of water in there. The thing is, for studio, you see, it takes me and Tim and Nathan to do like a studio. So it's like, oh gosh, who's going to get the boy? You know, if it just took one of us, like today, like it is just me, that would be okay, but can't do it like this all the time. Obviously, we do the shortcut videos for you all as well with the music, and that can't be done if I'm doing it this way. And, you know, pros and cons, you know what it's like. So we're going to figure out a better way where we can still continue on, because I know it's my job and I'm here to sell things. I do absolutely love my studio. It's a bit of time out for me as well. So let's make sure that's wet underneath. Okay, so I'll just stick that down. So I've got my cardstock lovely and wet. So let's craft now. Tell me to shut up and we'll do some lovely crafting. So my card is really wet and nice. So we're going to do a sunset. So we need some reds, we need some oranges. So mix up some red. Just pop in a little bit of water in my red. My palette is well loved, but I am a messy painter. But if you're not, mix it on your lid or on your mat, or if you have a professional palette, go for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the red onto my paper and I'm just going to go halfway down. So let's get this red painted on. So I'm just going to go about halfway. You see that there? I'm going to get it a little bit more intense, so let's add some more. And I would like a smooth coverage for the red, so I'm just going to keep going back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. So we've got our red on there, lovely red. Don't worry if it comes further down than expected, it's still okay. And then let's pick up some of our lovely orange and let's just pop some orange in there. Now we're not going to cover the whole of the red because that would be absolutely pointless. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop some little lines of orange in. So one there, like red, orange, red, orange, red, orange. Because even though we've popped it down in lines, because it's wet, it'll just do its own thing. I'm not concerned. It won't look sort of formal. It'll just do its own thing. We love the studio, Toni. I do too, Steve. So I'm just cleaning my brush here because I'm happy with the red and orange so far. And I'm just going to do a blue now. So blue is your preference, whatever blue you want to do. I'm just going to mix up this blue here. Right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the blue on and I'm just going to connect it with the orange. Now don't go too far because you might end up with a little bit of a muddy mess. So just connect it and then step away from it, okay? You all see that? I'm just connecting it with the orange because it will splurge out. It will follow where there's water, and there's water there. So I'm letting it do its own thing. Okay, so I'm going to add a different tone of blue in there like we did with the top. The orange and the red will add a different tone of blue. So if hopefully you've got a different colour blue in your palette. Have I got one? Not in this one, I haven't. Have a look in this one. I've just got on. I'm just going to do exactly as I did before. Put some, maybe a different colour, maybe this one. Just put some lines of a different blue in there. So a line, a line, and a line, and then just let it just do its thing. Okay, so far, we're all okay. So the water's just doing its absolute own thing there, okay? Now what we need to do here next is we need to add some sort of like warmth to our sky. It's looking very flat at the moment. So if you've got like a fuchsia colour or a pink or a sort of burgundy colour like this one here or this one here, we're just going to mix a little bit of that. You can use both, either or. And what we're going to do this time is rather than paint like flat like we have been in lines, I'm just going to do my lines like, do you know, like when we took the water out of our first card, just going to pop some lines in. So I'm going to go left and in, and then I'm just going to go right and in. And you can see it's practically dispersing to nothing. So if it goes on a little bit dark, don't worry about it. Let's just pop another line in here, and then maybe a shorter one. You see that here? So just adding a little bit of dimension to our sky. And the water's just working its magic on there. So a couple of lines in there, like so. You see that there? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly the same with the blue. So let's mix up some blue. Now it can be the same colour, just make it more intense, okay? So again, I'm going to go, my brush is on sort of an angle, and I'm just going to put some lines in here. So in, and I'm just going to just leave it be. Don't mess, don't faff, just let it do its magic. This is the beauty of watercolour. Okay, so I'll just let everybody get those lines in. Now I'm sorry, but we can't take too long waiting for everybody to catch up because the paper starts to dry and it makes the technique a little bit more difficult. So if you're at this stage and saying you're running ahead with me, click pause, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our brush and we're going to take all the water out of our brush, okay? And we're going to do our sun. Now, I showed you 3 ways to do the sun. Try and pick one that's fitting of your wrist and hand or your personality as a painter. So there's no water in my brush, and all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pop it into my cardstock like I showed you. I'm just going to twist it round. I'm just going to take some colour out. You see that there? Just going to pop that paint on there, and I'm just going to continue that process. If you're dragging it round and it's not taking it out much, your brush might be a little bit dry. So pop it in the water, take all the excess water off, and then try again. There we go, look, my brush was dry. See that there? I'm just going to keep going until I'm happy with the size. And you will end up with some pear shapes. Don't worry about it. You're not trying to lift it out so it's a perfect white. If you get a bit of texture in it, it is better, okay? So have the courage to leave it after you think, right, I'm happy with that, I'm going to leave it. What might happen though is the water around is still quite wet, so you'll probably find that it still wants to creep into that circle. So all you need to do is revisit it, like so, like that. Right, I'm happy with that. I'm going to move on to my water now. Excuse my droplets of water here, it looks like snow. So let's take some texture out of this water. So if this sort of sun was reflecting on this water here, we'd have some sort of ripples, wouldn't we? We need to take out a little bit of that colour. So my brush is dry, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pounce like we did and create some little ripples in our water. Can we see this here? I'm just pouncing. Now, I don't want sterile lines because that would be like, hey, I know why those lines are there. So I'm going to make this one a little bit fatter. That's it. Up and then off to a line. Can we see that there? So do some fat ones. And can you see how we've got this sort of here, like what the seas meeting the sky? I just need to make that a little bit more defined. So with a dry brush, I'm just going to take it across. Just going to put that little line in there just to bring it together a little bit better. Can we see there? So dry brush, just take out that colour and we'll connect that lovely sky with our lovely water. And then with the dry brush, and as you can see, what I did earlier has practically disappeared, so I am going to have to work at it. But again, if you're doing it and the colour's not coming out, wet your brush, take out the excess, and then do it. So maybe if you put some really dark blue lines in and you don't quite like them, you can take them out. Can you see that there? Keep an eye on your sun or your moon, whatever it is in your picture. Because if it starts to sort of disappear, we need to go back in with a little brush and take it out, because it'll start to bleed back in if your cardstock's really wet. So I'm not happy with these splurges because I dropped some water on, so I'm going to make sure I get a ripple in there and there. So I'm just imitating some ripples in some water. And they do disappear, so you just have to keep going in with that dry brush and removing that colour. And you can just do straight lines. Can you remember when we did the straight line? Remember, the aim is not to take out all of the colour, but it is to create that little bit of texture, okay? So I'm just going to go back and revisit my sun. I'm just going to take out all the water out of my brush. I'm just going to make sure I'm absolutely happy with this one and that it hasn't creeped in. Happy with that now. So I'm just going to go back to my water. All that hard work we just did taking that blue out, it's pretty much disappeared, hasn't it? So we need to go in and just intensify it a little bit more. Try and enhance my line a little bit. It's not the best at the moment. Don't worry about that line because we are putting the silhouette leaves in, so you will probably not see half of it anyway. So I'm happy with my water there. While my cardstock is still wet, I need to do a little bit in the sky to create like texture. So again, I've taken all the water out my brush. I'm just going to go in and do the same process, okay? I'm just popping some lines in, just to take out some of that colour in the sky too, okay? So, see that there? Now you can do them any way you want, as fluffy as you want. But just remember just to take that. And if you pop it on and it's not moving very much, your cardstock is probably starting to dry anyway. But don't forget, just wet that brush and see how you get on. If you wet it and take out the excess water, you can sort of reactivate it a little bit. You will get away with it. There we go. Look. Annette's not getting any lines. What are you working on, Carter, Annette? What are you working on, darling? So now it's a case of just flipping from your sky to your sort of sea. Yes, Carter. Okay, what are you wetting your brush and taking the excess water out? So if you're wetting it and you're popping it on and it's not lifting the colour out, wet your brush, pop it into your artwork, like so, pop the line in, get some tissue. And then get the tissue and pop it on where you've just put that wet line on. Look, it really lifts it out. You see, it really lifts it out. So if you're not getting the effect just using your brush, try it with some tissue as well. Okay, so now we've sort of got this sort of if you sort of like got the blue across the base here. Oh, that's Lindsay's saying if you've used crimson, it won't come out. I suppose if it's still wet, it'll come out, but once it's dry, from what Lindsay said there, it might be permanent. Lindsay, can you elaborate? So what we need to do is we need to create it a little bit more. Our sun looks beautiful, but it's sterile, isn't it? We need to drag some of the colour in. Okay, so again, I'm going to wet my brush, just going to dry it off on my tissue. And all I'm going to do, I'm just going to start at this side of the moon, and I'm just going to drag the colour in. See that there? Very gently, don't be heavy-handed. And then from the colour part here, I'm just dragging the colour in from what's outside of my moon or sun into the centre. And if you're wanting it more intense, just do it again. Pull it in. See that there? It looks like it's coming across. So all you're doing is starting outside, pulling it in. I've got too much white in here now. I've tried to demonstrate how to get it out, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. So I'll just wait to give everybody a second there. So I'm not going to play with it anymore. We're going to add a little bit of detail now, not with the black leaves. We need to do a little bit of a reflection from here into this rippled water. So you're going to need a size 3 brush. Sorry, size 3 brush. Size 4 brush I'm using, but any 2, 3, 4, 5 you'll get away with. Basically stick with it. So all I'm going to do is, I have colour on my glass mat here. Can we see here? I've got colours all the way around. I'm just going to utilise the colour that's on my mat. But if you want to use your thing, you can. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to very, very lightly take some of the orange and the red. Very lightly, guys. It needs to be watered back pretty much. And I'm just going to add a little bit of, make sure it's really watered down, a little bit of orange into the reflection of the water here. We see? So I'm just going down in a line, and I'm going to bring it off to a point so it looks like it's sort of, it would definitely come to a point if this was in the centre. So I'm going to bring it to a point, but I'm just sort of like bring it off to the left because it needs to be in line. Okay, so add, if you want to just watch this part first, because it doesn't matter if it's dry or not. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of that orange detail, and I'm going to bring it off down to here. Does that make sense? Don't worry, it dries back way, way lighter. So I'm just popping those little lines. You're not going to see most of this by the time you've put your leaves in anyway, but still, it's a lovely technique to try. So I was sort of casting maybe a reflection in the water down to here. That makes sense? So I'm happy with that. I'm not going to faff with it. So I'll give you the chance to sort of bring your reflection down to this corner, near on this corner here, okay? So hopefully we're getting something coming together. I'm just going to, whilst you're all just doing your little reflection, I'm just going to clean my thing. Can I just show you? Look at the back. It looks really cool with the colours on there. So make sure you don't contaminate the front though. So give your station a good old clean. If you've taped down, you won't have all this mess. Just going to grab some more tissue. Okay, Sue, see you later. I'm going to pop my artwork onto some tissue so it dries the back. Mine looks anemic. Roseanne. Don't worry. This is where you all get to show off your fabulous leaves, she says. Right, so let's move on to our next stage, okay? I'm going a little bit faster today because I would, if possible, like to show you an Aurora borealis because I think you'll all enjoy that one. So I've just taken the wet out of the back. It's not properly dry, but, you know, it's going to be okay. Well, what can I say? So just pop your piece of artwork back onto your tidy mat. So if you haven't already, you need to get tidied up. Tidy station. So, where is our practice? So this is our practice one. So if you want to go back to your practice one to practice first, I suggest you do so. Let's just move that out of the way and bring in our practice one here. So our practice one with our moons. So what we're going to do here is, can we just educate our wrist as to what we did last week? So what we need to do is we just need to mix some black. Now I am using a size 4. If you're a bit heavy-handed, it might help if you use a 3, something like that. So shall we just practice very quickly on our practice sheet on here, our leaves. So let's pretend we are actually on our masterpiece. So all we're going to do is we're going to use the toe of our brush, okay, and we're going to do that line out. We're going to press down. Okay. So let's just practice. So if you didn't tune in last week, to create pretty leaves, you start with the tip of your brush, you work it down to the belly, and then back to the toe. Okay, so it's sort of this motion. Toe, belly, toe. So it's tip, down, up. So let's do another one. So just paint them anywhere on your sheet. Let's get our wrists back into the motion of doing the leaves. So very delicate, fine lines, remember. So if we can all remember how, let's get our so just practice again if you remember. Tip, base, and up. So we just do a few more. So how are we getting on with Arlette and how much you all loves leaves now, so. So the brush I'm using is one of our Handmade brushes and it's a size 4. The brush is a great brush, but it is 50-50. As long as you've got a great brush, the technique is 50% as well. So I would stick probably with the brush that you've got and try and master the technique, as in not to be too heavy-handed. And if you're still not succeeding, then maybe it is the brush. So work on your technique first. Okay, so shall we move on to our masterpiece now and create something pretty? So let's just set this one aside. Let's bring in our little masterpiece, okay? So what we're going to do is we'll do one coming from the base here, okay? And we'll do one up as if it's coming in here. Then I need to do some here, because as you can see, I've got the bleed from my glass mat. It's gone back on rather than disappeared. So I've got this ugly mess here, which I need to cover. So try and pick an area where you're not quite happy with, where we can hide. But first of all, let's just do a very simple one. So as I showed you last week and this week, so you need to load your brush with the black ink, and you need to be so careful with the tip of your brush. We don't want tree trunk. If you do it really flat, this is what happens, look. If you're heavy-handed, you end up with that. And then when you try and top it off with a leaf, I mean, it looks like a paintbrush. It looks like I've done a paintbrush there. You need to be very, very gentle with the tip of that brush with the finest of detail, so you get the sort of delicateness of it. Does that make sense? Hi, Amanda. So, delicate if we can, okay? If you're really struggling, maybe use a finer brush or a rigger brush with longer hair. That might help if you're struggling with the sort of, if you're a little bit heavy-handed. But it is down to you to figure out what works for you. I can help, but, you know, what works for me and somebody else might not work for somebody else, and, you know, it's a case of figuring it out. And if you're enjoying it, you will figure it out, because you'll just keep doing it. Okay, so let's pick up some of this black ink and let's do a very delicate line. Now I'll do a line and then I'll tip it off with a leaf at the end, okay? So let's just, if you're watching, just watch what I'm doing first of all. So very, very gently, and I'm doing it slowly, so I don't want to ruin it. And then when I've got as high as I want to go, I'm going to push that brush down and take it off to that point, okay? So I'll let you all do it with me. So very, very gently, and then push that brush down and take it off to that tip, and you'll end up with this. So you can see already we've added one element of black, and all of the work that appears to be, for some of you, a mess, including myself. I've got a mess going on here. I instantly am not looking at the mess. I'm now looking at this black silhouette, which is super cool. And if you're wanting a shortcut to cheat and you don't want to paint, remember you've got all of your lovely silhouette stamps that I've created, other companies have created, where you could stamp on black yourself. But I don't encourage that. It's there as a backup. I really do want you to pick up that brush and have a go, because it really, really is very rewarding if you get it right. Okay, so let's do another one coming off here. So if you're watching the process first, I'm going to do another one from here, very fine branch, and then I'm going to push it down. So I will continue to paint this element, and if you want to do it along with me, if you're popping them in the same position, that's fine. Okay, so I'm being very gentle here. So I'll not speed ahead, but I will get the detail in, okay? So if you are doing it exactly the same as me, I'm trying to do it so it's spaced composition, so you're not going to worry about an overlap. And don't forget, you can always turn the artwork around. I'll just let everybody do those. Do you hear me then talking to myself? I'm just going to pop another one in here. Stop it look like it's floating. Leave it on camera there while everybody gets that in. So hopefully we've got something quite pretty going on. Oh, hi Clifford, it's first time today. Welcome to the How to Craft Network. I hope you're enjoying yourself. We are a lovely little craft company who try and inspire. We're not professionals by any means, but we do love people to come and join in and pick up some little techniques. And we're all non-painters, but we're all happy to have a play and a go. So welcome to the family, Clifford. So shall we do another one up here to hide the sort of mess that I've got going on here? So if you've got a little bit of a messy area somewhere which you need to hide. So I'm just going to turn my artwork around a little bit just to make it easier on my wrist. I'm just going to do one maybe from, we do it from here. So very, very thin with the tip, with the toe of that brush, and then I'm just going to push it down. Filling in those awkward areas where I've not quite got it right. And don't forget, it looks really cool if you have the courage to overlap some leaves. So like here, we've overlapped one just slightly. It just gives it the appearance of very fluid, realistic, rather than sort of all in sterile format. Any news when the club? Linda, there is light at the end of the tunnel because our website is nearly done. We can't do it without the website, unfortunately, but as soon as it's done, we'll all be able to join the club if you want to. So as you can see, my right leaves are never as good as my left. I always sort of like lose the momentum towards the end. It gives me a nice leaf, but they're never as good as my right ones. What we like, eh? I'm going to do a little branch coming off this one, and I'm going to bring it down a bit so it looks like this one's coming down. And then another little one. It's all awkward patches, Denise. Maybe when you do it again, if you want to do it again, you can not have as many areas that you need to hide. So I need to hide a little bit of this here as well. So I'm just going to take my artwork. I am going to twist it around, turn it upside down actually, because it's wet. I'm just going to pop in a little leaf here too, just to cover this lead area, because I'm not a fan, if I'm completely honest. So there's one. Try and cover another one here. Some might say it draws your eye into it. I don't think so. Once you get your splats on, we get our little birds in the sky. We'll be absolutely fine. Now I've got all this space here, so I'm going to add a little bit here. I'm just going to add, shall we go this way or we'll go up, I think. I'm just sort of filling in this awkward space here very quickly. Right, so I'm not speeding you up in any sense, and I hope you're enjoying yourself with that, but I'm just going to get some finishing touches on here, and then I'm going to try and move on to a sort of another sky, if that's okay. So let's just get some work on here. So what I'm going to do, I like the splats now. You can leave them. You can absolutely leave them, but I'm just going to pop some black splats in and around my leaves. I like the black splats in my sky too, but it's personal preference, okay? If you're happy with your masterpiece and you're thinking, I know exactly what I'm going to do, I'm going to ruin it as soon as I pop some splats on there, then absolutely leave it, okay? But if you're not overly keen about it, excuse me, if you're not overly keen about it and you're thinking, you know what, I'm going to do it again anyway, give it a go. I'll just clean my station here. So I'm also going to add some white splats as well. So if you have a white gouache or confetti ink or the eyes ink that I've absolutely fallen in love with of late, then you can use that too. Just going to mix a little bit of white up. Oh, not too much. A bit of white too. And I like the fact that it bleeds into the sort of our leaves. Looks quite cool. I just think that splats are very forgiving and hide a lot of what I'm not happy with. But it is absolutely personal preference. There's no pressure with splats. That's just my choice. Right, let's just add some birds to the sky again. You need a smaller brush if you have one. If not, be really careful with a size 4. Just going to pick up some of the black. Now to do a bird, let's go back to our test sheet where we were playing. So basically, birds are just like the letter M's, but a bit fatter in the middle. So let's just show you here. So I'm just going to do an M. See that? So it's just the up, a down, and up, and a down. See that there? And it doesn't matter if one side's fatter than the other, that gives like the perspective they're all flying in their own way. So let's just do that again. So up, down, up, down. Or if you want to do it with the tip, up. You see there? Try and write an M with the tip of your brush. That's all it is, it's like an M. Oh, do it gently, more gently than that. See that there? Well, Pat's saying she's going to mess up if she puts the leaves on. I think that's the only way you're going to learn, sweetheart. If you got to go for it. Which brush I've used for my leaves? I always use my size 4-ish brush. Yours is longer than my very old ones. Okay. So practice those birds very gently. So let's get some birds on here, on our artwork. This is where now you panic and you think, now I am really going to mess it up. Now I'm just going to pop very small, let me just see, very small ones. I'm just going to do a few. Green there, should we do a bigger one up front? look like bats. And I'm absolutely going to leave that now. Now, obviously, you can go in with a white highlighter. You can add a bit of white in here. You can add a white gel pen onto the leaves if you want to make it more realistic. You can add more orange in the reflection if you want to. But really, for what? I know we've been at it an hour, but if you were to paint this at home, you would be far, far faster. And if you've enjoyed yourself, that's all that really matters, isn't it? Mine look like worms. Mine are looking a bit bat-fied. They'd look nice in my Aurora borealis sky. Really got shouted at. Or you see, I'm a big fan of suggestion painting, where it looks different to all different individuals. I don't want to look a robin that looks like a robin when I'm sort of freehand painting. I want it to be, could it be a robin? Could it be a squirrel? A robin, squirrel. Some of my paintings do look like that, mine, but yeah. So funny, hey? And that's the fun part about it, isn't it? So, shall we set this piece aside? Have you all got another piece of cardstock to do the next technique? We have got time because I was late starting anyway, so hopefully you've all got a piece of cardstock where we can continue on. I'm just going to pop this on the back to dry. Now, don't forget, you have to mount this. Mount it onto a card, stamp a sentiment, a black mount, white mount, whatever you've got. In fact, shall I just see if I've got my mount here? And as we always do every week, we pop our mount on, don't we? Oh, did I not change it? Sorry. There we go. So pretend it's dry, and this mount was a little bit bigger, but you sort of get the idea, don't you? Pick the best part of your design with a lovely mount. Frame your artwork. Okay, so it's not until you get that mount around and get it onto a card how pretty it can be. And I always think mine looks better on camera than it actually is in real life. So give yourselves credit, guys, because it's not easy. So let's just get our stations tied in. Let's try and do this Aurora borealis. That's really, really simple. You just need to be confident with colour. Okay. So let's create a sort of Aurora borealis. Let's get some cardstock. Where's my card? Here we go. So Aurora borealis skies are really cool if you have the courage to do them. And if your card's wet, you can play and play and play. Get that colour in there, okay? So we'll do, shall we do black, green and purple, just because we can. This card is a bit big. I would trim your card down a little bit. We don't need a massive sky, so I'm just going to cut it down to, it's 6 by 5.5. 6 by 5.5 piece, if you want to. You can do it on a bigger one if you want to. I'm just doing it on a smaller scale because when you're working on a bigger project, it takes a bit more control. So I always say go small and then we'll work up. Okay. Right, so let's do this one. So again, we're going to wet underneath, stick our cardstock down. I'm going smooth side again, and then I'm going to spray the card or wet the card with my brush. I'm just going to take some water and get some water on there too. My card's nice and wet. I'm going to take some tissue and mop up all the water off my mat. There's loads of it. Crikey, have a bath in that. So just make sure that cardstock's nice and wet. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring our Aurora borealis sky from up here down to here. Okay, so all of our colour points, no matter where we start on our card, need to always come to this point. Okay, so let's do that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some green. Now the intenser the better. Okay, so let's mix some green. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the green from here to here. You see that? I get some more from here to here. So it always has to come down to this point, remember? From here to here. And from here to here. Let's just do a green sky. Okay, a green Aurora borealis. Okay, so we've got that lovely green and it's just working its magic. Okay, let's mix some black. So now we're going to mix some black and I'm going to fill in these spaces, okay? I'm going to fill in those spaces with the black. Let the watercolour do its thing. Don't be too precious about it. Yep, it looks like a child's done it, but you need to stick with it. So black in between. So let's go for a darker green this time. I'm going to mix some darker green. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop a line of darker green in our lighter green, okay? Just drop that darker green in. I'm just letting it do its own thing. I'm not being too precious about it. In fact, we will add some purple. So I think it's good for you to do two colours. I'm just letting it just work its magic. It looks an absolute mess at the moment, but you need to persevere with these things because they do look absolutely incredible. Let's mix up a little bit of purple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the purple in on some black. So I'm just going to drop a bit of purple in the black. Can we see that there? So it's worked its magic. I'm going to go in with the purple again. I'm just going to intensify that purple. I'm just spotting it in. And it's a great because Aurora borealis skies are so forgiving, very fluid, left, right, down to one corner. So you can keep adding colour. So let's go back in with our lighter green. Let's add some more lighter green in with this sort of green tone here. Maybe go in the middle of that one with the lighter. So just get that colour on. If you're not a bright and cheerful painter, you're going to struggle with this because this is super bright. I'm just going back over with the lighter over the dark. I'm bringing it down to this point down here. Stick with it though. It looks a mess, but you must stick with it. Have the patience to stick with. I'm just dropping some more green in there. I'm just pouncing that brush into those lines. I'm using the lighter one here. Okay. So now what we need to do is if you have white gouache or a white paint, perfect. It's going to really help. So I'm just going to take some of the white here whilst it's wet. Okay. This is where it starts to come together. So let's mix some of our white. And you know how you get the should have got a picture on my iPad. The white fluffy cloudy effect. Oh, I've got splats on mine already. Brilliant. Okay. So now we have our detail in our lines, but now we sort of need to make it look less sterile. So just mix some of your white on here, and with the side of your white, okay, you're just going to add some like white detail in here. And what you do is we'll work on the black that connects into the green. I'm just going to pounce the white into the green. We see that there? Sorry, headshot. Just going to pounce that white into that green and connect that black to that green. Not all the way, just some of the way. Can we see that there? Let's make it a bit more bright for you. Can you see it's sort of like just doing its own thing? See that there? So you don't do it all over, you're just going to connect. So let's go with this one. When your paint starts to go a muddy mess, clean your brush. I'm just connecting by using the side of my paintbrush. And try and start and finish at different points. I'm just pouncing, and I'm just connecting two colours, so the green into the purple, the black into the green. Can you see how it's sort of like, look how it's fuzzed out like that? Can you see that? If your card's still wet, you will get that look. So I'm just going in and just enhancing that white a little bit. I'll just let that just work its magic while you all just add your white for a second. See if I can find a picture to show you. So it'll just naturally bleed. You'll end up with like TV's talking to me again. So now we need to just add some more black. So you need to go back to your black. And this time you don't need to be as formal in the lines, okay? So now we're just going to add some black in the spaces and bring it together a little bit better. I'm just going to use the side of my brush here. Like a galaxy, isn't it? So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some black in here now. Using a bit of a small brush there, that's not helping. A bit too. Just size up. I'm just going to pound some black into some areas now and sort of bring it together. So we've got white, we've got the vibrant green, and we've got vibrant purple. I'm just going to drop in some black. Now, it is personal preference. There are no rules with Aurora borealis skies. The colours just go all over and very fluid. I'm just going to intensify this black down here. So I've got that purple coming through. So if you're looking like you've got zebra print lines and they're very formal, add some black in some of the other areas and just stop it from being sort of very formal, but the colour needs to swoop, if that makes sense. But you're not trying to cover your hard work underneath either. Oh, about the dipping bit of black in here, look. I'm just stopping it from looking very formal at the moment. I've got a big blob of green here, which I'm just going to add some black into. You see that there? So it's about just layering that colour, getting it on and having fun with it, really. Some of this black in here too. So my card is still wet. A bit more black in here. And no two of your paintings are ever going to be the same, so absolutely just have fun with it. If it's looking like a bit of a hot mess, okay, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. I mean, they don't look great to start with. You have got to manipulate them a little bit. And if you've put like quite a bit of white on there, mine's quite an intense white, okay, I'm just going to go back and add some green in there too, because my white's a bit bright, so I'm just going to push my white back whilst it's all wet. You see here? Pushing that white back a little bit. And we haven't added any of our sort of splats and the scrapes that come with our sky too, so. I'll just let you get to that stage. No definition of colour. Yeah, it is easy to get a hot mess and a sort of a puddle. You just need to be a little bit disciplined in trying to keep those. They go down formal, then you try and take them away, but then you need them to come back. So it's sort of like you're playing with the colour, but you don't want a muddy mess. So I've got my flat brush here, okay, and I've got no water or anything on there. I'm just going to scrape from the top of my work down. Not hard, just gently across my artwork. Can we see that here? So I'm just putting some definition in my artwork here. I'm just scraping from the top very gently, just so I've not got painted lines. I've got sort of coloured lines, like so. And then that's with the flat brush, and then with our white, we're going to add some splats while it's wet. And you see how it's sort of like giving you a snow effect? This will pretty much disappear, so have the courage to get those splats on there whilst it's wet. If you want to do some green splats and purple splats to bring it together, you can. I'm just going to take this off here and I'm just going to clean underneath. It is quite a messy one, is the sky, but it is truly worth it. Have the confidence to do it. I'm just getting some tissue for the underneath piece of our artwork here. So you saw how, you know, we were playing with colour, moving it around. It looked like we were faffing, weren't it? But the results are really, really pretty if you have the courage to give it. So you can see now I've turned it round. I mean, it's drying. I didn't turn it round on purpose, but does that? So it depends which way you look at an Aurora borealis sky. You know, which one do you like the best? I think I like them all. I like them all. So it is personal. And you see how those white splodges are sort of like They're there, but they're soft. So you could now wait till it's dried a little bit more. Yeah, and it's a case of sticking it out right till the very end. Absolutely stick it out right till the very end. I'm just going to add a few more white splats because they've sort of like dispersed, and I'd like some more formal ones on there. Oh, well, these are dispersing as well, which is fine. So whilst you're all watching and you're all playing, I'm just going to blast this off with my gun because I'm just going to show you what happens then when we paint something in. I'm just going to mute my mic whilst I do it because it's loud. Sorry, I forgot to unmute you all. That's my fault. Sorry, I muted you for the gun. So basically, I'm just taking the time to put those leaves in there, what we've all been doing for the last however many days. And just in black. Do another one coming out here, because we can. And then what I'll do is I'll press down. No, it was my fault. I put it on mute on my gun. And then we'll just do a few more here. So already we're getting something quite pretty come together. So if you rewind this video 5 minutes ago and you saw those awful green lines and those whites, would you have thought that we would end up at this place here? Now, it's not amazing, but it's good enough, eh? No, it's hand painted. You can give it to who you please and be proud of the fact that you've spent some time painting. Just do a little one here, shall we, while we're just everybody's painting in? I'm taking my time about this one. And if you enjoy the leaves, get lots in there because they do look really beautiful if you like them. And then when you mount it onto a card, it will look impressive, trust me. And then you can get a white highlighter pen and highlight the leaves if you want to. Remember to use the toe of the brush to get that really fine stem for your leaf. No tree trunk, remember. I will leave it there. Need to get dressed first, Valerie. So there we go. You're all probably still head down, still enjoying yourselves. So the whole sort of image comes together when everything's wet, but you have to be disciplined not to get a muddy mess. So you do get the definition in the colours, but it is all sort of like a technique where everything's wet. So, and this looks incredible with your sparkle pens. If you have sparkle pens, you end up with the most gorgeous sparkle sort of sky. Oh, let's see how everybody's got on. Thank you for this month, Toni. I've really enjoyed it. You're very welcome, Jan. So enjoyed it. Are we all going to have a little play this afternoon? It looks beautiful in like crimsons and fuchsias and purple too. So, and again, if you're not quite being successful with it, add that white in there. Give it some splats, and it will look cool. So that's that one, and then we've got our little practice sheet, look. So let me just show you on here how we've grown today, because it's really important that you see nothing just happens, you know. So we've experimented lifting colour out with the moon. We've done a little bit of texture in some water, a little bit of a reflection in some water. We've got some little birds in there as well. And then we've got the lovely sort of very forgiving Aurora borealis type style sky there, which normally they paint the trees in at the base, but we're not going to step into trees because that would be rushed and you would all spoil your work and be disheartened. So I'm going to step away from it while you're all feeling quite good about what you've achieved today. So another class finished and done. So that's the 4th class of the month, National Craft Month of March. Every Saturday morning. You can go back and watch them at any point. You'll have to let me know under this video which one you've enjoyed the most. You can pop a comment on after we've gone, when I've gone offline. Let me know which you've liked the most, because when we do it again, which we will, I will focus on what people have enjoyed the most. And I think that leaves you're all thoroughly enjoying, so we'll definitely incorporate those, and we will definitely incorporate them into some simple flowers as well. Keep practicing. You know, we're not born artists. I say it every single day, we are not born artists. It's something that you've got to practice but enjoy at the same time, okay? And if we can offer alternatives, i.e. we did with the moon, and if you've got a slight tremor and things like that, we can try and offer different things. And last week I showed you how to get a metallic paint if you didn't have metallic paint in your stash. So it's all good. It's all a learning curve. We're all here for one another. Don't forget to post your makes over on the Eureka fan page, because we love to see your makes. It doesn't matter if you think it's absolutely rubbish. Please post your make. It shows that you've got involved, and that's the starting point. So I am back with Simon's with you on Monday. It'll be me Tuesday then, won't it? You've got me on Tuesday. Don't switch off. Okay, have a lovely Saturday, whatever it may be. And if you're still practicing and playing, still post your makes and let us know how you've got on. I hope you've enjoyed the month. I thoroughly have, and it's been super, super, super. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So have a lovely day, a lovely weekend, lovely Easter weekend. I think I'm going on an egg hunt. Toni, Tim, and Tom, and the dog. Should be good, hey. Okay, have a lovely day, everyone, and I will speak to you all later. Take care, everyone. Bye.